Hello and welcome back to LK Tuition. My name's Lucas and today we're going to be looking at simplifying fractions and equivalent fractions. Hope you're well and let's get started. So what is simplifying a fraction? Well, fractions can be simplified if the numerator, so the top number, and the denominator, bottom number, both have a common factor, or they're both in the same times table. So to simplify the fraction, you just divide the top and the bottom by that common factor. So for example, we've got 6 out of 10, and that will simplify to 3 out of 5. And the reason why is because 6 and 10, oops, I can draw. So 6 and 10 are in the 2 times table. So we can divide by 2, so 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that's why it simplifies to 3 over 5. So let's just make that a little bit more clear. Okay, so, and you're divided by the same number, so the fraction will be equal to the same thing, it'll be equivalent. Okay, and the fraction will be in its simplest form if it cannot be simplified anymore. So 3 and 5, they're both prime numbers. The only times table they're in is the 1 times table, so they can't be simplified anymore. So they're in simplest form. Okay, so some examples then. So simplify the following fractions until they are in simplest form. Okay, well, question number 1, 15 and 20. We're thinking what times table is 15 and 20 in? And they're in the 5 times table, aren't they? So what we want to do is we want to divide the top and bottom by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. So this fraction is equal to 3 over 4. And that's in its simplest form because I can't divide it by anything else. Okay, so let's look at the next one. So we've got 70 and 100. Well, what times table are they both in? Well, they're both in the 10 times table. So let's just do, not left myself a lot of room, but we're going to divide by 10. And so the top one, 70 divided by 10 is 7. And 100 divided by 10 is 10. So that fraction is equal to 7 over 10. Okay, for number 3, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of looking at this. So number 3 is 24 over 32. Now, the best way of doing this is finding the highest factor that goes into both of them, because then you only have to do one step. But I'm just going to show it if you can't, because sometimes you can't see what the highest factor is. So I'm looking at 24 and 32 and I'm thinking, right, they're both even, they're definitely in the 2 times table, so let's simplify it like that. So we're going to divide by 2 and divide by 2. So 24 divided by 2 is 12. And 32 divided by 2 is 16. Okay, so that is definitely simplified. Is it in simplest form though? Well, the answer is no, because I've noticed that they're even as well. So I could divide by 2 again. So let's divide by 2 again. So divide by 2 again. 12 divided by 2 is 6, and 16 divided by 2 is 8. Okay, so that's equivalent to that. Now then, are they in simplest form? Well, no, they're still in the 2 times table. So once again, I can divide by 2 again. So divide by 2, and we're going to get 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. And then that is in simplest form because I can't divide 3 and 4 by anything else. So that was doing it in stages. Now you could have just looked at it and thought, oh well, actually these numbers are both in the 8 times table, and I could have just divided by 8 straight away, just make it a bit messy, divided by 8 straight away and got to 3 over 4. But this is just to show you that even if you can't find that top number, because these numbers might get really complicated, you might get something like 345 out of 485. Okay, now I know just by looking at it that 5 goes into both of those, but there might be a bigger number. but it's going to be harder to think about that. So just divide it by 5, get a simpler fraction, and then see if you can simplify it again. So there's nothing wrong with doing it in stages as long as you are continuing until you get them in simplest form. Okay, hope that makes sense. Alright, so now we're going to think about equivalent fractions. So two fractions are equivalent if they can be simplified to the same fraction. So actually we saw in the previous question, we saw that 15, that was question 1, wasn't it? 15 over 20 equals 3 over 4. And we also saw from question 3 that 24 over 32 simplifies to 3 over 4. So that means that 15 over 20 and 24 over 32 must be equivalent because they simplify to the same fraction. Okay, so question number 1 then, so an example, which of the following fractions is not equivalent to 2/5? So what we want to do here is we want to simplify all these fractions and see which one doesn't end up as 2/5. Okay, so this first one, this is 4 out of 10. Well, they're both definitely in the 2 times table. So I'm dividing by 2, and that's going to give us 2 over 5. So that's fine. Okay. The next one, this is 20 over 50. Well, they're both in the 10 times table. 20 divided by 10 is 2, and 50 divided by 10 is 5. So that's okay. That's equivalent to 2 out of 5. The next one then, 8 over 20, well that is in the 4 times table. 8 divided by 4 is 2 and 20 divided by 4 is 5, so that's good. 9 over 21, well that is in the 3 times table. 9 divided by 3 is 3 and 21 divided by 3 is 7. Okay, so that looks to be the answer that we're looking for, but let's just finish it off just by double checking the next one. So we've got that 12 over 30, well they're both in the 6 times table, so let's divide by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2, so this could be equivalent, and 30 divided by 6, yeah, is 5. So that's all good. So which of the following fractions is not equivalent to 2 over 5? Well, it's this one, 3 over 7. Okay, so just a couple of worded examples to finish off with then. So Hannah bakes 60 cupcakes for a charity bake sale. 20 of them are chocolate. Write the fraction of cupcakes that are chocolate in its simplest form. Okay, well let's just first write out the fraction. So she's got 60 cupcakes, 20 of them are chocolate, so it's 20 out of 60. Great. Now the first thing you might notice is that they're both in the 10 times table. So let's divide top and bottom by 10. So divide by 10, divide by 10, we're going to get 2 over 6. And then I'm noticing that that can be simplified again. So because these are both in the 2 times table. So divided by 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the fraction of cupcakes that are chocolate is 1/3 in its simplest form. Now again, you could have done this all in one by dividing by 20 straight away, but this is just again to show you that you can do it in steps if you want to. Okay, number 3. There are 85 students in year 10 at school. 45 of them are going on a school trip to Berlin. What fraction of students are not going on the trip? Give your answer in its simplest form. Okay, well first thing is, if there are 85 students and 45 of them are going on the trip, and we want to find out how many are not going on the trip, we just do a quick takeaway. So 85 take away 45 gives us 40. And now we want the fraction of students that are not going on the trip. So that is going to be 40 over 85. And now we want it in simplest form. So this is looking like they're both in the 5 times table. So let's divide top and bottom by 5. 40 divided by 5 is 8. And 85 divided by 5 is 17. Okay, and because 17 is a prime number, I know that can't be simplified anymore. So that is our answer. Okay, so I hope you found this useful. So remember, to simplify fractions, you want to see if the top and the bottom can be divided by the same number. and they will be in simplest form when that can't be done anymore. And also, two fractions are equivalents if they can be simplified to the same number. All right, thanks very much. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon for some more GCSE Maths videos.